Ric Flair defends his NWA World Heavyweight Championship against KokoBWare with Dusty Rhodes at ringside on November 18, 1985 at the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis. This one had chaos written all over it. Flair and Koko didn't just wrestle. They punished each other, even trading figure-4 leg locks in a rare twist. But just when Koko had the match in hand, things got out of control. Koko rocks Flair with back-to-back drop kicks. He's about to cover the champ, when boom, out comes Bill Dundee. Dundee blinds Dusty Rhodes with powder, distracting Koko just long enough for Flair to strike with a cheap shot. Koko's foot was on the rope, but the ref missed it. Flair steals the win, and the Memphis crowd was furious. Flair survived with his title intact, but thanks to Bill Dundee, this wasn't just a match. It was a robbery in Memphis. Did you know Kerry Von Erich and Jerry the King Lawler had a crazy feud in the USWA? And wait till you see the wild promo Lawler cut at the end about his sloppiness and drug use. Kerry, fresh off his WWF run, wanted to prove he was still the best. But Lawler? He wasn't about to let some Texas tornado take his throne. On March 6, 1992, Kerry pulled off a huge upset, defeating Lawler to become the USWA Unified Champion. But the King had a trick up his sleeve, and just weeks later, he used every dirty move in the book to win the title back. This feud was short but intense. Texas versus... Imagine it's 1989 in Memphis. You go to a wrestling show, and the first match on the undercard is Steve Austin versus The Undertaker. Before he was dropping stunners, before the beer baths, before the Austin 316. Steve Austin was just another rookie trying to survive in Memphis. But what happened in USWA that helped create Stone Cold? In 1989, Austin trained under Chris Adams and hit the road, eventually landing in the USWA. He wasn't a Texas rattlesnake, yet he was just stunning Steve, learning the business and trying to make a name for himself against guys like Jerry Lawler and Jeff Jarrett. But USWA wasn't easy, low pay, and a tough locker room. Austin never won a title here, but what he did gain was experience and a chip on his shoulder that would change wrestling forever. It wasn't long before he left Memphis, heading to WCW and beyond. Before he was the world's strongest man, before he was a WWE Hall of Famer, Mark Henry was making waves in Memphis. In 1996, fresh off the Olympics, Henry signed with WWE, but before stepping onto the big stage, he made a few appearances in the United States Wrestling Association. Competing in Memphis was a rite of passage for many future stars, and Henry was no exception. Though his time there was short, it gave fans a glimpse of the powerhouse he would become. From USWA to WWE champion, Mark Henry's path to greatness had humble beginnings. Before The Rock was laying the smackdown in the WWF, he was Flex Kavana in USWA Memphis Wrestling. In 1996, a 24-year-old Dwayne Johnson started his wrestling journey in the USWA. And let's just say, he wasn't quite the great one yet. Rocking a name that sounds like a rejected G.I. Joe character, Flex teamed up with Bart Sawyer and even won tag team gold. You could already see the potential, but no eyebrow and no people's elbow. Just raw talent and, well, questionable fashion choices. Fast forward a year later, and he was Rocky Maivia in the WWF. From Flex Kavana to the final boss.